Not Surprised, another song on Empire's Crumble, because on I'm Not Surprised, you talk about how most of your hopes and dreams have been shattered and how most of your friends have scattered and different things like that. So what, like, is this throughout your whole life a constant story, or was this specific periods, or like what was going on?
Yeah, I would say that it was during a specific period. It was mostly during, I would say, the decline of my music career.
Okay.
So, and I got an opportunity to see how people was like just not answering my calls anymore. And my phone wasn't ringing. My phone was so super dry, it was crazy. So, yeah, that's referring to. That period right there.
Okay. And then how was that for you to process, to deal with, and then to move past or endure?
I mean, I chalked it up to uh, life. I didn't know if everybody was experiencing that. I think everybody was in some form or another, but it was just the way my life was going. Was it cool? Nah, I probably went through a real deep depression without being diagnosed, because I know there was a while there I didn't want to come out of the house at all. I didn't want to talk to nobody because I felt like that's how people were treating me. So I'm turning my back on the world because the world turned its back on me. I did that maybe 2 months. You know what I'm saying? But since I'm really a outgoing. I really like to be, in the mix. Things are going down. I like to be around. So it didn't last very long, that depression. Like, I sat in the house, I felt bad. All right, enough of that. Now I'm back. You know, I'm
And,
out.
and at that point in your life, I assume that was after Ride the Rhythm. But then was this? I mean, did you totally leave music for a few years, or did you uh, get a job? Because after Ride the Rhythm, the first time I remember a real project, and maybe I missed one or two, but was the Black Gold. That was the first one I remember seeing and having. Is that the second
You got
album?
that? So no, Black Gold is not even the second album. And yes, I just continued to do music because I felt like that was mine. And I'm not going to let that be taken away from me just because whatever Wild Pitch or whatever the people, whatever, that I wrote those rhymes. I was doing it before anybody knew I was doing it. And I'm going to keep on doing it. That's just who I am. It's what I'm going to keep on doing. So, and it was fun for me. Like, I like to sit around, some people do crossword puzzles. I write lyrics, you know what I mean? And especially, like, I'm the type of person, if I'm sitting and I hear like a really funky beat, I don't care if it's a TV commercial, I start thinking about, a cadence, how to rhyme to that. Like, how should you rhyme to that? And then after how you rhyme to it, then I think about what to actually rhyme. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely stayed with the music. As far as Black Gold, a guy who used to distribute Wild Pitch Records in Europe, named Jeffrey Collins, reached out to me and said, "Hey Rob, I know that your relationship went south with Stu, but if you have any new material and you want to put it out, I'd be happy to work with you." So I put out some new material with him, but I put out a couple of singles. I didn't like the way the business was going, and we had more records. So he wanted to move forward with the album, but I was like, wait a minute, man, you still ain't, make me whole for the stuff that you already got. I'm not really feeling the way that we doing this. So maybe 4 or 5 months went by, and the next thing I know, Black Gold was on iTunes and Amazon. And I'm like, yo. So I call him up, and we get into a little back and forth. And you put this record out, and it's disrespectful. Then he decides to hit me with a little bit of change. You know what I mean? It really didn't. It wasn't what I deserved for putting out an album, but he gave me some money. And yeah, Black Gold is out. And the truth is, once you release an album, especially today, if you put something out on the internet, forget it. It's out. It's gone. There's no stopping it after that. So Black Gold was out. My first thought was to take it down, give me my shit back, but forget it. Just leave it out there. And now I'm getting paid for this record that wasn't really supposed to be released the way it is. And so Black Gold turns out to be a collection of songs that I recorded over maybe a 4 or 5 year period. So it's not really a thought out album. It's just it's a compilation.
Well, I was always curious about that too, because the subject matter on there I think is a little, for lack of a better way to put it, rougher per se, uh, and darker than, even though you tackled serious subject matter, I think from the beginning of your career, it definitely seemed to have a darker edge to it, especially lyrically, at least in my opinion. But I was always intrigued as to why. Do you remember why or what was happening that may have lent to that being a darker or more aggressive lyrical project?
Uh, I don't know. I don't really see it that way. Was it really that dark? I
Well,
don't
there
know.
was
When's the
well,
last time you listened to it?
well about the song about brothers drawing heat.
Oh yeah.
That was one. Keep
Uh,
on making me high. There was a couple of things that were a little like, oh, okay, it's a little more rugged,
yeah.
I guess.
Well, I mean, like I was saying, man, it's a collection of joints I was doing. I was doing like a couple of records here, a couple of records there. And I don't know. I thought maybe if we put something out and it drew enough attention, then I would go ahead and focus on the album around whatever was hot. But I don't know. That never really happened. And like I said, I wasn't really happy with Echo International. I didn't really like the way things was going. So I wasn't going to put a record out with them at all. And he kind of forced my hand with that. So you got to be careful who gets their hands on your music now. But
Yeah.
today, I mean, for Chill Rob G, it's going to be real easy now because technology made it so that I can really sit in the driver's seat. So that's cool.
Now that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And on a related note, with Empire's Crumble, your new album, you also have the FU Rocking with the Best, which is a reunion of sorts with Flavor Unit. So, it's a posse cut, Double J, Lakim the God is on there as well. So, what I imagine at least that you keep in touch with people over the years, but to actually have another song, what's the significance of that to be, and 45 Kings on there too? So, what's the significance for you as somebody that's been rocking with these dudes since the 80s to put out a song now?
It felt fantastic. It felt great. I was really happy to be the guy that got these dudes on the same record. Because we older now, people got grandkids and people are married and moved out to PA and all kind of shit like that. So to get everybody to work together on this one record, it took a little longer than it should have. No disrespect, but some people took a long time to call back. If they happen to see this interview, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. But it worked out, man. I was really happy it worked out. And definitely felt good to have these dudes, like you said, that I've been rocking with since the beginning of my career. And I wish I could have got more people on it, but it just couldn't work out. So that's the way it went.
And with
But I talk to everybody I could talk to.
okay.
You know?
And with Mark the 45 King, I think I've had the fortune to interview him, of course, on Unique Access. But I also think he's one of the more underrated and underappreciated rapper or producers in rap history. So as you think back and you look and having him on the song, what do you think are some of his greatest strengths or greatest things he brought to rap?
Oh man, just his attention to detail is crazy. Is his style. I think every producer that we all, love and respect from hip hop definitely brought their own unique style to it. And that's kind of what we all gravitating to. Like when you hear a Marley record, you can almost kind of tell it was Marley did it. 45 King, you can kind of tell that's the way he goes. So just to bring his uniqueness to it, man, and he's just a good dude, be honest. Because his doors was open to anybody who thought they had the skill. He didn't turn nobody away. But what happened is, better and better talent got in there, and you're just not going to fit in with these guys, is what happens. So it works out that way. But
There
yeah,
you go. Survival of the fittest, I guess.
basically.
Okay. Well, on Empire's Crumble, you also have Thinking Out Loud, which has possibly my favorite vocal performance of you on there at the beginning, how you're stacking the rhymes, and it's kind of like, it's just very impressive in my opinion. So for you, since you enjoy writing, what is it, or did you get anything different or notice anything different when you were writing the section of that in the beginning of Thinking Out Loud?
No, nothing different. It was deliberate. Everything that I did was on purpose. So thinking out loud, I knew exactly that I wanted to go at it a certain way. Like I told you, when I hit a beat, the first thing that comes to me is cadence, how to rhyme to this. And then I worry about what I'm going to say, you know, because how I say it kind of determines what I should be saying. Because I can't do a love song if I'm going to be going, you know what I mean? So,
Right.
so, so how you do it, I don't rap like that anyway, but how you do it kind of determines what you're going to say. In my view, that's my process anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also on thinking out loud, you have you mentioned how Black Lives Matter is just something that people say. And
Yeah.
I think that in the modern era, we have, you know, a lot of people get caught up in slogans and different things,
Mhm.
and some people say things they're not serious about. So
Absolutely.
what made you want to address that on thinking out loud?
Because I was on YouTube and you get into arguments with people over some of these videos, some of these cop videos and whatnot. And you hear some of the comments from people who believe themselves to be, quote unquote woke or like a ally of the movement or whatever. But then some of the stuff they're saying, you're like, wait a minute, that's not you. What are you talking about? So, I mean, you're saying Black Lives Matter, but you ain't really showing me that right now. You're not living that, you know? It's just something coming out of your mouth because you think it's cool. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what motivates people to do what they do, but I'm not surprised by anything that they do.
Yes, I hear that.
Yeah.
Also with Empire's Crumble, another one a song I really like is the No Apologies. And on there, you're talking about how you're not the finished version of yourself and you're still trying to grow and evolve and become a better person. So what is that process like for you and what made you want to speak on that in a song in particular?
I'm just trying to be as open as I can on the records. I wanted to, be honest. I think I learned that from listening to, Jay-Z and Eminem. They're talking about their personal life and their personal experiences because most of my music was about society and other people and stuff that I'm seeing. So I wanted to do a song just a little bit about me. So that's what I was trying to do there. I probably I could do a better job if I really want to talk about myself. But on the surface. And yeah, what does it look like? I mean, just trying to be the best human I could be, man. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make life as, improve it as best I can for me and everybody around me, everybody I come in contact with. And that's all you can really do.
Okay. And also on No Apologies, you're talking about how you saw a genius lose his mind and a
Mhm.
few other things related to, you know, different people with stuff. So what was bringing you to want to speak on those things vaguely, and why didn't you make them more specific?
Well, because the people I'm talking about, first of all, it's not Kanye. It's not nobody we know. It's nobody you know, but people I know. And just, I ain't really trying to hurt nobody, you know what I mean? Because dude might hit a record. But I just, there are things that you need to be aware of as you're living your life. We going through um life and everybody has their own idea about how things are supposed to be and what's what. But sometimes it's just, you got to be cautious. I'm not no preacher, but I did grow up in a very Christian home. So I don't know. That's my version of preaching right
Okay.
there.
And
Yeah.
at the end of No Apologies, you got a little snippet from King T's played like a piano. Elsewhere on the album, C-Doc's got like Slick Rick, Lick the Balls. You got a lot of really good samples that are played throughout the album and incorporated. So was that all C-Doc? Was that part you, part him? How did that part of,
It was mostly C Doc. I think the Slick Rick thing was me, but most of it I just left it to him. I like to worry about the lyrics and let the producer worry about the production. But if I have a good idea, or I think I have a good idea, I'll say something.
okay.
So I knew I wanted to use that Slick Rick sample, so I said it.
All right. Well, it worked out well. So
Yeah,
I'm glad you did.
yeah, no doubt.
On Also on Empire's Crumble, you have the Bang record, which is getting with a woman, making her feel good sexually and all this stuff, which also was interesting. So it's toward the end of the album. It's a different type of song for you. What made you want to get into that type of thing?
It was one of the first ideas I ever had for a rap record when I was like 17. And it was something that, we used to play around with, these sex records. I forgot the guy, I think the guy's name was Blowfly, something
Yes.
like that. And he used to have all those dirty rap records. So, I was impressed with that when I was a kid. And I had like a couple of bars and stuff in my notebook. And while I was working on this project, I went across those bars and I said, you know what, I should, fuck it. So I wrote the song. And there you go.
Okay. But
Yeah.
it's also, Bang also isn't super explicit. So,
Mhm.
Blowfly was super explicit, Dolomite super explicit, Too Short
Okay.
super explicit. So why didn't you go that route?
Why didn't I?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Bang is not super explicit?
Well, I mean, with all the profanity and like different, it didn't strike me as XXX rated.
No.
No.
What I gotta say, man? Listen to the record again, man.
Okay.
Listen to the record again. It's pretty raw, man.
It is raw, but
Well, you know what? I guess since it's me and that's not really my thing, that's probably as far as I'm going to do it on a record.
okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. And then Empire's Crumble ends with Power, and Chuck D is featured on there.
Mm-hmm.
And so Chuck D is the one that helped make Empire's Crumble possible.
No doubt.
And different things. What made you guys, how did it end up being to where it was the power music, the power beat, Chuck D on that song? What was the construction of that?
I definitely, after I got the phone call from Chuck, I definitely knew I was going to eventually come back to him and try to get him on his album somehow. I didn't know what record we were going to do. And then C-Dot told me that they had talked about redoing the Power before. So I called him up. I called Chuck. I was like, yo, look, man, if you want to redo the Power, we could do that. Let's make that happen. Because it sounded like an idea to me. And that was it. We redid the Power. And, we didn't do the same format as the original song. It doesn't have all of the same elements or whatever, but I'm very happy with it. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I think it came out well.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked Chuck D's definitely going hard on there. So that's always good to hear.
Yep.
So taking it back in the day a little bit, I was always intrigued because I remember reading way back in the day that a high school friend of yours had actually introduced you to the 45 King. Mm-hmm. So how did that end up happening, and how did your friend know 45 King?
That friend was Latif, Apache's brother.
Oh, wow.
And,
okay.
Yeah, I went to high school with Apache and Latif. We all went to school in Jersey City, and it's not a high school, stand up. So they had moved out of Jersey City to Irvington, New Jersey, which is like one town over to, a couple, up the way a little bit. So I was out that way, and I ran into Latif. Or was he in Jersey City? I think Latif was in Jersey City, and actually came to look me up. And because he told me he had this connection to this dude, 45 King. And when he said it, it didn't click that he was talking about the same dude who Red Alert has been playing on the radio all that time. So I was like, all right, I'll come through, because everybody in Jersey City knew that I was, a rapper. Jersey City is not that big of a town. And, we used to do these parties, these basement parties and block parties, and a couple of the high schools and, would open up their doors on the weekends. So we get in there, and it was a bunch of crews. It was like Sweet Slick and Slide crew, which had like a million members, of which I was one. But they only had 3 rappers. So, I wanted to rhyme. I was really impressed with the 3 rappers from Sweet Slick and Slide. It was Albie, Jimmy Mack, and Prince Shabazz. And I wanted to get on with them. So I think, way before I ever got a shot at making a record, I was just trying to be good enough to rock with those dudes. And then I was trying to be good enough to rock with the next crew. And I would listen to dudes on the radio. I wanted to be good enough that whoever passed me the mic, I would be all right in that spotlight. You know what I'm saying? No matter where I was at. That was my motivation the whole time.
In the beginning, hip-hop was ruled by the East Coast. Then the West Coast rose to prominence thanks to gangster rap.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
Hip-hop changed the world. Gangster rap changed the narrative.
I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world.
And then changed the world again.
Cause I'll come and take your life away.
The history of gangster rap features unheard stories, unseen photos and documents, all with exclusive interviews from the founders and players who shaped gangster rap.
I think a real gangster rapper has to scare you a little bit.
The history of gangster rap written by veteran rap journalist Soren Baker. In stores now.
Yo, what up? This is DJ Quick. Be sure to pick up my homeboy Soren Baker's book, The History of Gangster Rap, if you really want to know what we do.